Today I want to read to and do a little bit of investigation on the state of housing insurance in California when it comes to these fires that's going on. And which raised the issue, is insurance going to cover some of these fires, fire damage to people's homes and property? And a lot of the insurance companies, specifically State Farm, cancel policies this summer before these fires happen. So I'm gonna watch a couple of videos and read to them to try to get some information about insurance claims when it comes to these fires in LA. Comment below if you think that some of these properties are going to be covered by insurance or not. We also want to look and see what the insurance commissioner of California has to say as well. But first, we want to check out this quick video.
Have insurance.
All right. So I want you to give us the bottom line, whether you believe there'll be the money for the payout, and certainly feel free to add or correct anything that I just laid out.
First, thanks for the opportunity to spend some time with your viewers. Insurance companies that are insuring homeowners and businesses in California have adequate reserves to cover claims associated with this event.
Okay, that's great.
Two, the FAIR plan. Yeah, well, that is important news, right? So if you haven't,
so this is like the former insurance commissioner of California talking right here, being interviewed.
The FAIR plan. Yeah, well, that is important news, right? So if you have insurance, you're going to make a claim. You're going to end up in a battle with the insurance company because that's always how it works, and there's going to be some delay, and it's going to be very frustrating. But they have the resources to pay the claims.
He's not lying. That's how it works. It's going to be delayed. Lawyers wouldn't have a big amount of cases to handle if insurance companies just act right. So he's telling the truth about that.
However, as you point out, some number of private insurance companies have been non-renewing policies, including substantially State Farm in the Pacific Palisades area. The state of California, like 35 other states, has set up an insurer of last resort called the FAIR plan, which is an involuntary private association of all the insurance companies writing in the state. It's not a state agency. It's not taxpayer funded, but it's required to offer an insurance policy if you can't find a private insurance policy. So because many homeowners in Pacific Palisades were non-renewed by their insurer, many of them ended up on the FAIR plan. That explains why the FAIR plan has about $5.89 billion in exposure just in Pacific Palisades. The other reason that number is so big is because the average home value in Pacific Palisades is about $3.5 million. So both the...
Oh, man, that is something huge to consider. California homes are not cheap. So this FAIR plan and whoever insuring these homes, they got to come on with it.
The policy numbers and the amount of the value of the home has created a significant and substantial exposure for the FAIR plan. Can we say at this moment that the FAIR plan has inadequate reserves and inadequate reinsurance to cover claims? No, we don't know that. What we do know, though, is they have about $200 million in reserves, $2.5 billion in reinsurance. And if they blow through that, state law allows them first to assess all the private insurers up to $1 billion, not each, but collectively, to further cover any losses the FAIR plan has. But then after that, under an order that was issued last year, the FAIR plan can get permission to then assess through the private insurers all policyholders in California. So the bottom line is, if you have a FAIR plan policy, you're going to get, and your home is destroyed or damaged, the FAIR plan has either enough resources directly or the ability to assess to cover those claims. Right. However, it's going to be a rude awakening for many Californians if in fact they get assessed because the FAIR plan doesn't have enough money.
Right. All right, Dave Jones, that was very important context, really well laid out in a succinct way. I appreciate it. I wish I had more time with you.
Okay, so that was a lot of good, useful information right there. And so I think the biggest thing is that, there are things in place for if, people that have private insurance, or even if there's not enough money involved for this fair plan. I think people just gonna have to fight tooth and nail to get any kind of claim covered. I really do think so. Because that's just the nature of most insurance companies. I'm pretty sure, probably right now, or the next couple of days, you're gonna see a lot of lawsuits filed against State Farm, a lot of lawsuits filed against this fair plan. You're gonna see a lot of that, and people probably don't start getting paid for these claims prior to like the next couple months. Now I'm not even gonna say the next couple months, probably the next 3-4 months, because even we have went through something like this, not personally but professionally, had to make a claim, and that took like 6 months for a profit insurance. Yeah, I'm gonna say 6 months. I'm thinking people may be looking at about 6 months before they start actually getting paid out claims on this thing. Okay, so that's the former insurance commissioner of California. Let's see what the new one got to say. I think this is him right here.
And our state capitol correspondent, Eitan Wallace, just breaking this news. California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara has issued a mandatory 1-year moratorium prohibiting insurance companies from enacting non-renewals and cancellations of coverage for certain fire-affected homeowners.
That's big. That's really big.
Yeah, this applies to anyone who lived within the perimeters or adjoining zip codes of the Palisades and Eaton fires, regardless of whether they suffered a loss. So breaking news right there. Meanwhile, today, Democrat Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas announced new legislation he says will help fire victims.
That it comes on the same day Republicans are calling on their Democratic colleagues to end the governor's special session aimed at fighting President-elect Donald Trump. Capitol correspondent Eitan Wallace has more.
Thank you for your service, and thank you for protecting our communities.
The state Senate beginning the day with a standing ovation for first responders on the front lines of the fires in Southern California.
I think the residents of LA County need to hear the state Senate loud and clear. We have your back.
And in the state assembly, its leader, Speaker Robert Rivas, sharing this.
The most important question for us right now, and for me, is how can we help?
That's why Rivas says lawmakers in his chamber are in the process of authoring new legislation he says will assist fire victims, including one bill to expedite insurance claims for impacted homeowners. It comes amid California's home insurance crisis.
Okay, so that video, I thought the new California commissioner was going to be talking, but he didn't talk. But they did announce something big that he did, was to make a 1-year extension, basically saying that, hey, if you was recently dropped or about to be dropped for fire insurance, the insurance companies have to cover you for at least 1 year. So that is huge. That's really huge. Probably gonna see some of these insurance companies file lawsuits against the state of California. I think that is, here we go. Here goes something about the California Insurance Commissioner.
The White House says the federal government will be doing more as fires continue to burn in Los Angeles. President Biden announced the federal government will now cover 100% of costs for the initial disaster response, including debris removal, temporary shelter, and salaries for first responders for up to 180 days. He says generators for water supply and more firefighting equipment, including equipment coming from Canada, are also on the way. And he called on Congress to do more.
I'm going to make an appeal right now to the United States Congress. They're going to have to step.
Swirling like embers are concerns that many who lost their home in the Los Angeles wildfires also lost insurance coverage as their policy was canceled or non-renewed in recent months.
We're going to see who's non-renewed. We're also looking at if you were non-renewed, but you're still essentially covered within the deadline, then do you still have coverage?
California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara points out state regulation requires insurance companies to give customers 75 days notice before their policy is canceled or non-renewed. So even if someone got a notice before the fires, they might still have coverage.
The other question is, what happens to the folks who are not insured? So we're going to rely on the federal government and FEMA to offer services on the state to be able to offer some sort of reprieve for folks who may not have coverage. But right now we're in the middle of assessing what insurance are covered in the area, who doesn't have coverage.
He says it's too soon to estimate a dollar figure for the losses, especially since homes and businesses are still actively burning and threatened.
My job at this moment is to make sure that insurance companies pay these claims out as quickly as possible.
Many homes here
You're going to have a tough job.
Are on the expensive and bare bones California FAIR Plan, a state-mandated, privately funded insurer of last resort. The number of people on the FAIR Plan ballooned in recent years as private insurers have paused or limited business in California, citing the rising risk of wildfires, high cost of rebuilding homes, and state regulations. I asked Lara, so just to be clear, FAIR Plan customers who lose their home can expect to be paid out.
Absolutely.
In a statement, the FAIR Plan told ABC 10, "We are aware of misinformation being posted online regarding the FAIR Plan's ability to pay claims. The FAIR Plan has payment mechanisms in place, including reinsurance, to ensure all covered claims are paid." As for future fires, Commissioner Lara has enacted a 1-year moratorium on insurance companies dropping or non-renewing customers within the immediate area of the Los Angeles wildfires. So those who do have coverage right now will continue having it for at least a year. State lawmakers are offering solutions too. Today, 2 assembly members introduced a bill that would authorize the FAIR Plan to request bonds from the state in the event the FAIR Plan faces liquidity challenges following a major catastrophe, such as a wildfire. That money would help finance the cost of paying insurance claims. And the To The Point team spent months digging into the home insurance crisis.
Okay, so I think to sum all this up, what we found out today is, number one, if you're in California, I think you're going to have some good protections under the FAIR Plan. 'Cause even if the FAIR Plan has problems, I think that the government is going to back them up. Number two is, I truly believe that these insurance companies are going to be fighting this for a while. So I'm thinking it may be 6 months for anybody to actually get some money in the hand. And number three, I think if you living in California, you just need to keep your ear to the ground as to what's going on. You need to submit your claim as soon as possible. You need to consult with a California attorney and get your claim started as soon as possible. Take pictures of and whatever you can, and start doing itemize or whatever you had, about your house, things of that nature. So those are some of my initial thoughts from reacting to all this. And I just wish the people in California the best of luck. It's a really sad situation. People out there losing everything. And so good luck to everybody in California. And we're praying for you down here in Mississippi. Thank you. I'll see y'all on this one.